And welcome back to Who Would Win. I didn't get around to the Who Would Win on Friday. Just things came up. But I tried to do it yesterday, but things came up again. So I'm just going to crack this out, and I'll have another one up tomorrow. And tomorrow, I should note, tomorrow again starts the week of the What If. So just keep look out for those. God, I haven't written down my What Ifs yet for the week, but I will at some point. I got a What If to do today. But anyway, this Who Would Win comes to us from Adolfo Jenkins Saberia, or Sanabira. I might have gotten that name a little wrong. I apologize. Who asked the question, who won the fight? Luffy versus Reed Richards. And I'm surprised. I felt like someone else had suggested this fight, so I was looking for... Because if multiple people give me the same suggestion for a fight, I give the shout-out to every person who suggested that. But to my surprise, I've had people suggest Luffy for other fights, but not for Reed Richards, and I could have swore I had. I might have end up losing that at some point when I transferred over the information to a different notebook when it got sloppy or just too crowded. But anyway, yeah, Luffy from One Piece versus Reed Richards, similar but different. Luffy is the head of the Straw Hat Pirates. He is, I don't know how old he is. I'm not gonna bother looking it up. He's still, generally speaking, a young adult, if not still in the teens. Late teens, but still in teens. But anyway, he's the leader of the Straw Hats. Was raised by his grandfather, taught him extreme survival methods, and therefore he's extremely strong, tough, and loves a good fight. He's a combat-oriented kind of guy. Loves a good physical brawl. He's a very on-the-go, kind of on-the-fly, spontaneous kind of fighter. He's not a genius, but he's not dumb either. He's a good tactician. He can adapt on the fly. He's skilled hand-to-hand fighter. I'm trying to think. He's capable of using all three of the Hakis, which are kind of like special innate abilities in the world of One Piece. Armament Haki hardens yourself to create like an armor, which can also go through low-G users, which don't matter in this case. Conqueror's Haki, which allows you to basically enforce your will on others and can basically think words. Can basically you're enforcing your will on others, basically knock them out, more or less. And then perception, I think it's perception Haki. I think that's what it's called. Basically, you get bullet time reflexes. And he's capable of using all of them. Now, his main skills, though, his main abilities come from the Devil Fruit he ate. Devil Fruit in the world of One Piece are fruit that if you eat them, you gain a power. They also are notoriously for tasting all bad, but the minute you bite it, you gain all the... The thing about a Devil Fruit is weird is that you bite it, you eat it, it tastes bad. No matter, you don't have to finish it, you just take one bite and you finish it. You could probably even go and just take a little bit. Excuse me, breakfast. And it's 1 something at the moment for breakfast. Is that you instantly gain knowledge of what your Devil Fruit is, what it does. And Luffy had the Gomu Gomu no Mi, or the Gum Gum Fruit. Basically, he became a rubber man. As a rubber man, he's pretty much immune to most blunt force trauma. Takes extreme blunt force trauma. He's still capable of feeling pain, but he's got a high pain tolerance. He's no more susceptible to, or no less susceptible to, sharp slicing or cutting or piercing items than ever before, because rubber, it doesn't have that kind of protection. It does have insulation, though, so if electric attacks were to be thrown at him, it just bounces off him. He basically, usually to get his, to use his attack, he's got to usually get momentum going. It's like the Goma Goma Bazooka or Barrages or something like that. I can't remember. They're all basically just punch combo names, inflation names, things along those lines. So it's just... what was it? Rob Luce? Was that it? The guy who turned into the leopard fight, he does that rapid fire punch and just the Gomu need just bazooka or something like that. So he's got a lot of just basic techniques to go around there. He can expand himself, inflate himself kind of like a balloon. And he's got his gears. Gears are his up to versions of abilities. With Gears 2, he's able to basically increases the amount of... how fast his red blood cells are pumping through his body, increasing his physicality, and just increases his strength and physicality. With Gear 3, he basically can inflate his limbs into super giant. Here's him. My finger is him. My arm is his fist now. Just boom, and that's even small. Yeah, it goes he could do that. So. It used to shrink him down to a small kid form for a while. It doesn't do that anymore, which is awesome. And I've always wondered, why doesn't he just turn himself into a giant? I mean, he's made of rubber, so technically speaking, couldn't he turn himself into a giant? Maybe that's the next. Maybe that's Gear 5. Maybe that's what he does. Because he's only got 4 gears. Give me 1 second. Well, I want to get Gear 4 correct because there's 2 different forms of Gear 4. And it's Bouncing Man, and I think it's like Cobra Man, Gear 4. All right. 4th technique. I don't know. As far as I know, there is no Gear 5 yet. But essentially, what he does, yeah, I believe, there's only Gear 4 right now, is Bouncing Man. Essentially what he does, he coats his arm in basically arm hockey before biting his forearm. Somehow how he blows up. Basically, that's how he blows up his Gear 3s. He blows it up, blows air into it. But this time he inflates his muscle structure before distributing the air through his body, which emphasizes his upper half. If Luffy is stopped mid-blowing, his arm will slowly deflate. When utilizing Gear 4, he makes an extensive use of his arm mid-hockey, legs, and much of his torso to the point they turn black from hardening. The hockey coating across his body resembles wispy ends made from flames. Essentially, what it does is because his arms and legs essentially become pistons. Basically, because you don't see it looking at it, but because even though it's hardened, he's still made of rubber, and hardened rubber to boot. It's like almost like a rubber bullet. He basically cocks it back and just basically cocks it into his arm, and then when he fires it, it's like a piston punch, just boom, all the power goes there. In this form, the power is greatly magnified. Its durability enhanced despite being hardened. His body's still rubbery, so physical blows, even ones enhanced by like arm no hockey and things along those lines, simply bounce off him. Focuses on compression. More than stretching, it focuses on compression. He can compress his arms, legs, and head. While the compression grants Luffy moves overwhelming speed and power, the range his attacks is severely decreased. For example, his bazooka technique, which is basically like the rapid fire, Luffy has proven he can execute over various distances, but due to needing to actually compress his fists, it doesn't work the same way. However, he can still deliver long-range punches by stretching his parts and bouncing him off things. It's called Bound Man or Bounce Man. Let's see here. Much like the Gear 2nd, I believe there's a different one as well. That he used against, what was it, Cracker? Tank Man, that's what it's called. There's Tank Man and Snake Man. So let's see here. Tank Man allows him to, reveal another. So basically, these are all Gear 4 forms. There's no Gear 5 yet. Due to increase Luffy's metabolism near Gear 4, he's able to leave his Tank Man form in a short time after using it. This is the case when Luffy is able to burn the massive amounts of biscuits he is eating in the fight with Cracker shortly after defeating him. Currently, this form is the base form of Tank Man is unknown since it's only been so he hasn't really used Tank Man very much, but Snake Man is the other form he has. Unlike his other 2 Gear forms, Luffy does not significantly expand, with his forearms and his legs only being slightly larger, where the rest of his body retaining its normal proportion. The spread of Luffy's hair becomes more flame-like. His fists flex differently. In this form, he gains significant increase in speed, ability to use Python to change the direction of his attacks, which I'm guessing is like snake or whatever. It's like something to do with his rubber. The latter form possesses this development. However, Snake Man allows his attacks to continuously accelerate the longer they last. Okay. Allowing Luffy to not only press on and attack more fiercely on an opponent capable of dodging, but increase his speed and power until they finally land hits, and also gives him the opportunity to attack any area on an opponent with ease. Form focuses on deal with agile opponents who specialize in dodging. Requires Luffy's recent highly proficient whatever hockey. The form allows him also to jump high, but because his body lacks inflation, his defense is considerably worse compared to his Bound Man or Tank Man forms. When he was basically, it's trading power or defense for power and speed. So I mean, yeah, it's a powerful technique, but it has its limitations. He's got his limitations using the form. So, with that said, despite all of his capabilities, Luffy is still no more immune to sharp weapons than anyone else. He's also not dumb, but not the brightest bulb in the bunch. He's also apparently very susceptible to hypnosis, um, despite being very single focused. Also, his powers are kind of dependent on his mood or his state of being. If he's like determined on something, uh, uh, he's if he's focused on something, it's he's at his basically he's stronger the more he's focused on it, the more will and effort and determination he puts behind it. Otherwise, it's just kind of um. But yeah, so Reed Richards, obviously member of Fantastic Four, one of the founding members, husband of Sue Storm, one of the smartest men in the Marvel Universe, was bombarded with cosmic rays, giving him basically plastique-like properties. And similar to Luffy, he's pretty much immune to blunt force trauma, but he's also immune to a lot of stabbing weapons as well because his muscle structure is also elastic. So unless it's like a supremely sharp thing like adamantium or just something that's like a laser or something like that, it's he's got a large amount of resistance overall. Give me one second. I'm gonna just since I looked up Luffy, I might as well get up Reed Richards now. Originally, when I was going to do this, I had this already up, but then I just stopped because I just ran out of time. All right then. Powers and abilities. Reed is also again one of the strongest individuals in the smartest individuals in the Marvel universe. He's done basically various breakthroughs in the fields of science and technology. But again, he's got a plasticity, possesses the ability to convert his mass of his entire body into a highly malleable state at will. How his body respiration and circular system function is unknown yet. He can alter his form matter of seconds, often much less. It's basically a reflex at this point, kind of like a Logia user, actually, to use One Piece as an example. The greater the distance he stretches, or the more he extends the size of the objects he becomes, the weaker his overall strength becomes. There we go. Mr. Fantastic's transformation is meant to a malleable state, is reflexive and nearly instantaneous, and if he was in his normal form or taken unaware by a machine gun fire, his body would still absorb the bullet impact through radical deformation. In fact, it was revealed that Mr. Fantastic was, despite being in a weakened state, it was revealed that it was Mr. Fantastic, despite being in a weakened state, who protected all the heroes other than the Hulk from the impact of the 150 billion ton mountain falling on them from the Jade Giant caught the mountain before the Hulk caught it. Although the strain caused him to pass out. His skin is virtually impenetrable to laceration or puncturing, which is different from Luffy, unless he willfully relaxes and his reflexes control over a small area, case like needles and penetration of his skin with scalpels. Dense flesh, again, capable of withstanding a large amount of ballistics and apparently impacts. Can also contain explosions, although such socks like 8 to 10 pounds of TNT are physically exhausting to him, and he can redirect projectiles after his body absorbs kinetic energy, basically just bounces it back. Elongation. The maximum length he can distend before his body segments become painful is about 1,500 feet. Sorry, though he can extend body parts such as a finger or an ear. He seldom ever isolates such parts of his elongation. So yeah, at 1,500 feet is his max, which, to be fair, is really far. Grappling and movement, shape changing. He can imitate shapes, physical features, canopy, parachute, cushions, slingshot, geometric shapes, fist weapons, bouncing ball, two-dimensionality. Can flatten itself to the thickness of an average sheet of paper. Useful for stealth, I guess. Infiltration, open locks, wind generation. Mr. Fantastic may form his hands into a fan. That's interesting. Semi-solid liquid state can willfully reduce his body to almost liquid state in order to flow into small cracks. Nigh omnipotence, but we're not counting that. That's not fair. Other abilities, super intelligence, obviously. And hypnotism. Hint, hint. Is trained in hypnotism. So, about weaknesses. Fantastic Four power synergy. The original members, in fact, are tethered to each other and act as their own conduits of power. They can be apart within their own universe and retain connection, but prolonged periods cut off from each other in other universes, okay, that's not going to matter or anything. So basically, it comes down to who's going to win this fight. The Rubber Man versus the Plastic Man, more or less. I mean, in this fight, let's just assume going to a separate dimension, or that Reed Richards, because Reed Richards has done that, would, then that being said, it would cause his power to be shorted, but we'll give him his full power, at least for the beginning of the fight. Cause him to wind up in the world of, the Grand Line, One Piece, and, the fight. And, he's doing his best working with people to get back, and people see that, and word goes around there's another Gomu Gomu no Mi user, and Luffy hears this, and, what? I'm the only Gomu Gomu no Mi. How can this be? And he meets Reed Richards, like, oh, hi. He's like, so you're the guy who got the stretching powers? Like, yes, I am. And he reaches for something as he's just like, yeah, how can I help you? I'm the only one who can stretch here, buddy. I'm Luffy, and I'm going to be king of the pirates. Okay. What does that have to do? I mean, I'm not really. And then she's like, yeah. It's like, what the hell? So now Reed's just like, all right, let's do this. It's like, what are you? Stop it. It's like, let's talk about this. It's like, come on. And it's like, I know. And then the fight actually commences. Luffy tries to impart his conqueror's will on, but does nothing. What Reed's gone up against cosmic beings. Luffy's not going to be able to impart his will on him. So now, Mr. Fantastic's got to basically stretch. Now, the difference between these guys is that Luffy needs momentum to really get some of the stretching going, whereas Mr. Fantastic does not. He can just stretch. So Mr. Fantastic does have an advantage in that. But I would definitely get the hand-to-hand advantage over to Luffy, who just lives and breathes the fight. So, I mean, Luffy's doing his best, firing. Mr. Fantastic just either dodging him or just letting the blow stop. It's like, look, can we talk about this? And just expands himself and then just grabs, okay, that's enough. And then all of a sudden he's going to gear 2 and says, what? Wait a minute. And then just Luffy fires a kick, just boom, hits him in the head. Okay, that was really annoying and just, it's like, but come on, kind of it does a fan to basically counteract the air. So it makes a fan. So basically, Luffy's hitting just barely getting out of reach. So now Luffy's just like, fine, then third gear, just boom, smacks Mr. Fantastic's back like about a mile. Just, and then, he charges in, probably inflates his leg to get some speed going. It's like, okay, I'm not going to lie. That hurt a bit. I actually felt that one. I was like, oh crap! And then he also enlarges his fist, so they're colliding fists. Come on, kid, let's talk about this. It's like, we don't have to do this. We don't. And then he just starts tying up Luffy. He's like, we don't have to do this. Stop it. It's like, you can't stop me. It's like, I'm gonna be king of the pirates, no matter what. And there can only be one rare man here. Now, granted, I know Luffy's not that conceited or selfish, but he can be a little self-absorbed at points, definitely. I mean, every anime character can be a little main character can be self-absorbed in shonen manga to some degree. But essentially, now you get Mr. Fantastic just like, okay, can we just, and then just see Luffy just hardens himself with armament hockey. It's like, okay, fine, then I can't, what? And then goes into Balancing Man. Boom, just starts hitting Mr. Fantastic. And I was like, this is getting irritating. This is enough. I gotta stop him. He's being he's just being too he just won't listen to reason. So I gotta do something about him. What exactly am I going to do? Oh, sorry. Someone commented on our video. So what am I going to do? Like, all right, well, I guess I could try this out. And then gets in front of him, like, whatever he would do for hypnotism. Like, you were getting sleepy. He's like, just drooling in place. Like, just shrinks back down. Well, that was easy. Easier than that. I guess I know how to keep him compliant until he can calm the hell down. Okay, let's go over here now. Yes, over here. And that's the thing, is that, Reed Richards is far smarter. He's far more durable. He doesn't have the issue that he needs to get some momentum going to stretch. And I'm sure there's some things that Luffy does, because like Luffy can just stretch his cheeks out like that, no problem. I've seen him do that. But Reed can just do that naturally. He's got more distance he can cover than Luffy. And he knows hypnotism, which is the actual severe weakness of Luffy's. Luffy is very susceptible to hypnotism. Ultimately, yeah. Here's the real kicker, or here's the real crux of it. Mr. Fantastic has ways to not kill, mind you. I don't think either of these guys have a way to kill each other, but has a way to beat Luffy or Luffy, depending on his name. Luffy, I think it's Luffy. Luffy does not have any clear-cut way to beat Reed Richards. He's got plenty of great abilities. He's got plenty of powerful abilities, but ultimately, Reed Richards just has the ability to is more durable. He's not affected by piercing weapons like Luffy is. He's far more intelligent. He's also spent years on the battlefield, or years just fighting crime. Now, granted, I still think Luffy's the better hand-to-hand fighter than the two of them. But he's got had many years of combat experience as well, fighting villains. Fighting villains far more powerful and devastating than Luffy would ever be able to handle. I'm not saying I'm going to do it. If you suggest they'll do it, but I'm not. Luffy versus Galactus might be entertaining for a few minutes. Even at full power, Luffy's just going to be like, pfft, and Galactus will be like, that was annoying. Boom. Ah! Yeah, that's how it's going to happen when Luffy fights Galactus. Reed Richards, on the other hand, granted he's got a team, is able to actually go toe-to-toe Galactus, particularly because it's not about physically overpowering, it's about outsmarting him. It's about doing something, figuring out a way to outsmart this deity, basically. And Reed Richards has enough skills, and again, the hypnotism. When I found that, I'm like, oh, it's going to be Reed Richards. It's going to be Reed Richards. I mean, let me think on that real quick. Is there any way that Luffy could beat Mr. Fantastic? Well, if he could hit with the power of a 150 billion ton mountain, sure. But he can't. He can hit hard, but he can't hit that hard. I mean, he can't impart as well. His Conqueror's Hawk, again, because Reed Richards has gone up against cosmic beings that would just waste Luffy. Waste him. Dr. Doom, he goes up regularly against him. So, I mean, in Dr. Doom would wreck Luffy's shit. Again, if you actually want me to do that video and see and actually compare what they could actually do, fine. But ultimately, yeah, it's Reed Richards. Is there a way Luffy wins? Not going to be Conqueror's Hockey. Armanaki might cause his punches to hurt a bit more, but that's about it. Honestly, no. This is one of those fights where I actually don't think Luffy can beat Reed Richards at all. Again, if it were just a hand-to-hand brawl, that's one thing. But it's their entire roster of abilities and powers and personality, and ultimately, it's Luffy can't beat Reed Richards. He just can't beat Reed Richards. So yeah, I gotta go 100% of the time Reed Richards wins. But let me ask you: do you think there's at least a way that Luffy actually wins? Or is it just Reed Richards who completely dominates? Do you think it's closer, farther than they make? And do you think Luffy actually gets the majority? Let me know in the comments below. But thank you for watching. Anyway, I know this is late. I apologize. But I appreciate you guys sticking with me with that. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe. As always, if you want us to review something, put in the comments below. Let us know. We'll do a review of it at some point. Ideas for who would win, what if, superhero magic, anything I do on this channel, put in the comments below. Let me know. I'll get to that at some point. Be back in a little bit with what if. Later.